Hi, folks. Welcome to episode 129 of the Wealth on Any Income podcast. This is where we talk about money tips, techniques, attitudes, information, and provide inspiration around your business and your money. I'm your host, Rennie Gabriel. In past episodes, we spoke about how to understand the numbers from your business, how to measure the level of pleasure based on where you spend your money, how to track your money in 5 to 10 seconds, what determines how close you are to complete financial choice, and how to run your business without being in your business. Last week, we had Dove Gordon, the leader of one of the best mastermind groups I've ever participated in. Today, we have as our guest, Jenny Holla. Driven by new experiences, connecting with people, and a curiosity for life, Jenny is on a mission to help transform the lives on a deeper level. She made the difficult decision to leave her lucrative sales career and take the leap of faith into entrepreneurship to help unfulfilled professionals who are sick and tired of the day in and day out hustle and grind, how to find freedom and reignite their joy for life. So, in May of 2021, Jenny and her husband sold everything they owned and embarked on a journey of a lifetime, traveling the United States as digital nomads. She loves to live life as a model of possibility for others while helping them to create their very own freedom lifestyle blueprint. Jenny, welcome to the Wealth on Any Income podcast.
Yes, thank you. I love what you stand for on this podcast. And of course, my favorite line was how to find pleasure in the money that you're spending. I thought that was the best part.
Yeah, and because that's what allows the transformation. When we ask ourselves questions like, did I get the level of pleasure I paid for? Is this in alignment with the goals and what I want to create in my life? Without questions of how we're spending our money, nothing's going to change.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So, okay, Jenny, got an idea of what you did and sort of why you did it, but tell me more. I mean, okay, you're a digital nomad. I mean, what's really the inspiration behind this besides, the little bio that I read?
Of course. So a little bit about me is I've spent over 10 years in corporate America, and I was in a sales profession. So I moved up really quickly in sales and had all the accolades and all the successful things that people would run after, right? I top achiever, made 6 figures by my mid-20s, bought a house mid-20s, wrote a book, published a book. I mean, I did a lot of stuff. And so I have all the check marks. And I've always wanted to, I love traveling. I did 2 study abroads in college. I did 1 to Mexico and I did 1 to Wales. I've always been super adventurous in traveling. And my last sales job was national, traveling the country. So I was all over. So why a digital nomad? Well, basically, this is something I've always wanted to do, but my husband's more homebody. And so it was suggested, and he actually said yes, which I about fell out of my seat. I was like, really? He said, yeah, let's do it. Let's sell everything and go on the road.
Wow. I got to tell you, I mean, I am your husband. I am a homebody. My wife says if I never had to leave the house, I'd really be happy. So yeah, I just, totally. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and he just finished, well, not just finished, but he had basically made our house so comfortable with, like, we had all the smart lights and all the automations and, the right music and setup and comfort and everything. So he had really decked out the place. So leaving all those comforts was kind of tough. So when we started, he said he wanted to go 4, maybe 6. Okay, Jenny, I'll entertain 12 months, but probably 6. He was like, let's just play with it. So we sold everything, started on the road, and about 4 months in, we both had a conversation, and he was like, I like this. Let's keep going. Like, all right. So here we are almost 2 years later.
That's fabulous. And I got to tell you, the thought of that seems so frightening to me. And when you said, I'll go 4, I'll go 6, I'm thinking weeks.
Yep. That's what most people do. I mean, I was talking to my mom, who definitely, this is like way out of her comfort zone. And I was telling her in the past year and a half, I think I counted up all the places we had stayed, and it was like 24 places. And she just was couldn't even like wrap her head around it. She was like, what? And actually, so today that we're recording this is February 15th, and we're in the location right now until March 1st. And my mom just texted me yesterday and she's like, where are you headed next? And I was like, I don't know. And she just sent me like the wow face, like, how do you even do that? That doesn't make sense. So yes, it is a very different lifestyle.
Yeah. It's I'm not able to wrap my head around it. So I understand I'm in your mother's situation. Not a problem. But now one of the things for all my guests deals with a picture bigger than themselves. As you know, I donate 100% of the profits from the work I do to charity because I can. And tell me about a cause or charity that's important to you that you support.
Yeah, for me, usually, like currently, just being wide open here, we're not currently supporting any charity. But when it does come up, I'm usually looking for the ones that have to do with turtles, ocean, environment, things like that. Actually, one thing I'm doing here in Fort Walton Beach is there's Ocean Hour, which is a group that helps clean up along like the coasts. And there's a chapter here in Fort Walton Beach. So every Saturday I've been going and helping pick up trash locally. And it's been so fun. Like there's something so rewarding about picking up trash at these beautiful parks that are right on the ocean or the water. Like, so that's how I've been spending some of my time to help give back.
Yeah. And that's fabulous. As a matter of fact, one of the people on the podcast does that in Australia. And it's not just about giving money, but it's giving of yourself, giving your time. And the point is, I believe, I know I am blessed. You sound blessed that you gave up something. You're living a lifestyle that you designed. And on that basis, I believe it's important to give back, and you're doing that. So thank you, Jenny. Now, let me ask you something else. Tell me about your target clients, target markets. Who is it that you do or want to support mostly?
So being straight up with this is something I have completely struggled with, like a lot on and off, because I feel like what I offer and what my husband and I offer is like such a deep transformation that it doesn't really lie in the whole marketing realms of things. So I was just having a conversation with my husband this week. I was like, okay, entrepreneurs and professionals. And it's like, yeah, sure. Because some of the people I've worked with have been lawyers. Some of them are research professors at universities. Some of them are in fact entrepreneurs. So it's really more about the who. Like for me, it's usually someone who's very spiritual minded, who has ambition and goals. They're likely A-type and driven in some kind of way and wanting to like undo some of the corporate programming or some of the societal programming about like how you're supposed to live life. And they're people who really want to go deeper into themselves, into their souls, into their authentic self. And they really want to live life by design, which I know is so cliche, but it's really, that's why part of why we're doing this, because we want to set an example of what's possible. Not so, Rennie, you can come travel the world, but like, what is this version of this for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you live your own digital nomad lifestyle that you love, that makes you happy, that lights you up, and really ultimately helps you be more fulfilled?
Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, it's not confined to any particular occupation or executive position.
Yeah, because it's really more about like the person and where they're at in their journey. That's really where it is. Like the people that I work with are wanting to go a little bit deeper, have maybe done some of more of the surfacey personal development work, which is really important and very key. But they've kind of done that, right? They've gone on that circuit and they're like, I want deeper, I want more. And they really want to like do shadow work, and they want to really dig into their identity and identity shifting, and want to really find out who they are at a core level, not who they've been like showing up as for the world. So that's a lot of deeper work.
Yeah. And I get it. I understand it. And I can also tell you, I recognize it's not a fit for me, but I guarantee there are people listening to the podcast that say, oh, I need to talk to Jenny. Now, let me ask you this. What would you say was your biggest failure or learning experience, whether it was personal or business, and what insight did you gain from that?
Well, I'm sure you as well as the listeners have heard, failures are all lessons, right? It's how we perceive.
Well, hopefully they have.
Well, right. If not, then it's time to turn it into a lesson. It's time to like propel forward into the lesson part, because I think for me, the hardest thing that I feel like I've gone through is when I first started my journey as an entrepreneur, I had a business called Lifestyle Change International. I put my blood, sweat, tears, soul, everything into it. And what happened was I really ultimately didn't believe in myself. And I let some of the outside forces, I was in my early mid-20s, and where people were like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about to help people live their best life. Like you need to teach people sales because you're good at sales, or, like all these different directions that I let people sway me in because I wasn't even 30 yet. And people were telling me all kinds of things, and I was just a sponge, and I listened to it all versus standing like in my ground and in my power. And so I think that shutting down Lifestyle Change International years ago, like that was tough. And then I went and hid back in the corporate world. Like I went and hid back into what I was good at, which yes, I'm really good at sales, but like there's so much more. And so some of the lessons I learned is over the past 10 years, I've literally been writing the same thing over and over and over. Blank sheet in front of me, talk about helping people live their best life, finding out who their authentic self is, traveling more adventure. Like I've been rewriting the same thing for 10 years. So really the lesson in this is really believing in yourself, trusting in yourself, listening to yourself. And to be honest, I'm still unfolding and learning this lesson because a lot of my life has been a lot of external validation from sports, from good grades in school, from, parents with the pat on the back, and even with career, being like a leading producer all the time. So then kind of going out on your own and you don't have those external pats, you're like, who's going to pat my back and tell me I'm awesome? Well, guess what? It's got to be you. It's got to be yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, one of the things that I learned, I used to own a pension administration company. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is I didn't like working with engineers. One of the things when going through the pension plan design with an engineer, they ask, how was the watch made? They don't care what time it is. Mm-hmm. And I'd prefer to tell someone what time it is and not show them how the watch was made. And I had the skill set and actually did that, where I would take apart the computer generated retirement plan calculations and show them how these calculations were created and why it came up with the numbers it came up with. Mm-hmm. So I had that skill set and also recognized if I had to do that for a living, I would kill myself.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good realization.
Yeah. So anyway, transition to what do I want to do so I don't have to work for a living? Mm-hmm. And that's why the bulk of my income comes from investments. I don't have to do anything for it. That gives me the time to do the podcast, to network with other people and take care of my tenants. Mm-hmm. So, I have a fulfilled life at this point and I'm home.
Right. That's your most important factor. That's like exactly. You've said ever since we've met. I'm home. I've been here. This is where I'm at.
You got it.
Don't worry, I'm not going to make you go anywhere.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think you've covered this, but I'm going to ask the question. I mean, you said, people want to go deeper. They recognize, there's more for it. Are these the typical feelings that your prospects experience?
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, I had a feeling you were going to ask this question next. So I was just thinking because some of my more recent clients that have come in, they're really looking for a sense of like soul growth and soul purpose. And it's like they've had this block or series of blocks that have been holding them back. And honestly, it's really come down to self-worth and self-belief and all of that. And so, I do tap into the spiritual side of things as well. And I share intuitive messages. So in some of those sessions, it's been like this activation that people have had leaving the session. So it's like where someone has been stuck for quite some time. Like after this session, they're like, oh my God, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This happened, this fell off, this is going, I believe in myself now. I'm never going back. Like there's all these things that have been unfolding for them. So it's like a clarity and a sense of trust in who they are. So I think that's what I feel, called to share right now is that's really what's been unfolding most recently with the clients I've been working with.
That's perfect. Because I was actually going to ask you, is there a specific case study or person that you could speak about as an example of the work you do and the results that they get? Like the woman you were just talking to, what was she doing before? What's she doing now?
Okay, so one of them, her name is Rena, and actually she's on my YouTube. We chatted about this.
That's
Well,
funny.
she will be here in a couple of weeks. She'll be on my YouTube and on my podcast. You'll get
One
to
of
hear
my investment advisors' name is Rena, which is an
Really?
uncommon name.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so Rena came in, and Rena has a brilliant message, and she's really about helping people who've been through some level of sexual abuse to really find themselves again. And she has a powerful story. She's been on Oprah. Like, she has a TED Talk that's gone viral where she's getting messages all the time about this. I mean, she's really doing great things, right? So when she came into the reading, there was just a couple of things in her life that were still kind of like stuck for her. And so when we worked together, so like with my spiritual reading, like I'm just sharing like a download of information that I'm receiving. And in the download, it literally answered all of her questions that she came to the session with. And with that, she was like, I don't even know what else to ask. And she's like, well, obviously this isn't a problem anymore. This isn't a problem. I feel so activated. So now really what it is she's standing more in her power. And funny enough, like through this was not one of her goals, but she ended up signing up for improv acting classes, which is going to help her in so many ways. And she's like, I would have never done this without working together. This is awesome. So it just opens up a ton of possibilities.
It's so terrific. Now, for those listeners who want to get in touch with you to find out more, I'm sure there's a way of getting in touch with you, even though you're not in the same place for more than a few weeks. Do you have a free resource that people can get?
Yeah, so the best free resource that is available right now is my podcast, the Life Adventurist podcast. And so to get the link to that, if you just go to thelifeadventurist.com, you'll see all the links, but you could just narrow in and go straight to the Life Adventurist podcast, because right there, I'm really sharing like all of the things that have to do with spirituality, travel, living your best life. Like I'm pouring my heart and soul into that podcast. That is literally like the best place to kind of get like a free coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like where I'm like, it's like I'm in the room with you sharing like my heart and soul.
Terrific. Okay. And I'm going to ask you, because I'm looking at what would be the show notes, and I don't see the actual URL for that. So please email that to me so I can add it to the show notes. Then people can just click on it and go right there.
I will definitely do that.
Okay. And is there a question I should have asked you that would give some additional value to those who are listening?
Well, let's see.
I mean, something like, how could someone transition into this freedom lifestyle?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. So really, I think what it's about is if you have like a little itch inside of you where you've listened and you learn, or you watch people on YouTube or whatever, where you want to do this type of thing, how can you shut out the world and make the decision for yourself? Because it doesn't matter what grandma or mom or best friend or aunt says, because are they living that type of lifestyle? No. I mean, honestly, if I came to you, and this is with all love and respect, Rennie, if I came to you and I was like, you know what, I'm thinking about selling everything and going on the road, you might be like, I don't know, you may want to think twice about that. Like, are you sure? Right? You would give me all the information, all the things to be really cautious of, and potentially maybe scare me out of making that decision, because that's coming from like your frame of the world, your belief and understanding. So if you really want it, like, all right, how can you start setting yourself up for that? How can you begin to move in that direction, whether it be to start saving up points for travel, or to start, using and aligning yourself with certain credit cards that give you points and allow you to do what you want, cash back or flights or whatever. And honestly, a great resource for that is that it's not mine, but the Daily Drop. It's by Kara and Nate Buchanan. They created that, and they have a newsletter and a newsletter that shares all the ins and outs of like travel hacking. And then they also have like a website where you can look up flights, and you know what I'm saying? Like start moving in a direction and do it your way. Just because when we travel, we stay in Airbnbs. If you want to stay in a van, stay in a van. If you want to stay in an RV, stay in an RV. If you want to go volunteer on farms and do it that way, if you want to couch surf, like how do you want to do it and what's going to honor you? Do it your way. There's always a way to make this work if you really want it.
And it's so perfect the way that you actually came into explaining that, because if someone came to me and asked, how do I live the nomad lifestyle? It's like, well, I could direct you to someone, but don't ask me to support you. Right. But if you want to know how to create investments so that you don't have to work for a living. So you
Oh, I
can
love
choose to work or choose not to work. That I can help with.
Yeah. So go to Rennie, make the investments, figure out how to set yourself up so you can like live this lifestyle that's based on play and not work, right? And then once you have this play money, come talk to me and I'll help you like design this amazing life and help point you in a direction that serves you best. I mean, I love that. That is the perfect combo.
Terrific. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is definitely going to be a treat for a lot of my listeners. Oh, again, thank you for being on the show.
Of course. It was a pleasure. It was fun.
And for all of those who are listening, if you'd like to know how books, movies, and society programs you to be poor and what the cure is, then log on to wealthonanyincome.com/TEDx. You'll hear my TEDx talk and can request a free 9-step roadmap to complete financial choice and philanthropy, and receive a weekly email with tips, techniques, or inspiration around your business or your money. And if you'd like to see how you can increase your wealth and donate to the causes that touch your heart, please check out our affordable program, Wealth with Purpose, also on our Wealth on Any Income website. To my listeners, thank you for tuning in. You can listen to the Wealth on Any Income podcast on your favorite platform, and please rate, review, and subscribe. And until next week, be prosperous. Bye-bye for now.